about holistic nutritionist and holistic therapies, and I assume that's run by you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do now. I'm trained as a nutritionist and a naturopath, which all that means is to help people improve their situation. So you work with people, and I teach them how to cook the different things I do. So it's getting off the high sugar and using maple syrup and honey instead. So it's learning how to cook for yourself with the highly nutritious food, which your body responds to better than, all the blood sugar highs and lows we have during the day in the things we grab. So, and grains are a thing which do spike your blood sugars a lot. So breads and things like that. So I'm all for the alkaline diet, like fruits and that sort of thing.
Oh, amazing. Well, that's what I think what would be good with that, Lynn. I will put the links at the bottom. Okay. I mean, I think what's probably best, if you're happy with that, is if I can just put your email address, which is on your things, right? On your leaflets. I'll put the email address and your phone number so that people can get in contact, right? Yeah,
because if anybody want to get in touch and ask me anything, or even if they disagree and they want to debate things, because everybody got a different belief system, that's fine. I don't mind listening to other people's beliefs about their illness, about me, or anything. I don't get into angry rants with people, but I'll try and discuss things so we come to an understanding, because everybody on this planet has got different beliefs about everything. I mean, you only got to look at the COVID. Not everybody believe the same thing about that, do they? Depends where you are in your experience. So it's the same with mental health. I look at it very differently now than when I was ill, obviously.
Oh, yeah, completely. It's amazing, that process, or it was for me anyway, in terms of how you look at the whole world differently when you get to a point of recovery or healing or cure or whatever you like to call it. I think I'm still very much in the category of recovery, and I'm quite happy to stay in recovery for the rest of my life. I think that's just me.
Well, that's like healing. There's just different levels. If I'd have spoke to you 5 years ago, you'd have seen a change from now to then, you see, because I've come so far. I've come a lot further than most people ever do with this illness, you see. So I could talk to people like Stephen Fry, who still considers himself to be diagnosed. I don't accept that label anymore, because I feel I've healed that much, because I've put in so much work, and that's come to fruition, But I'm not anti-meds. Obviously, you need your meds, but most people on them want to get off them. They don't wake up in the morning and say, I feel fantastic taking 5 meds, do they?
Well, I think that's the thing as well. And again, like, I'm not a doctor, you're not a Dr. Lynn, so I think that's important to remind people as well. And obviously, all of this, aside from, I've got a couple of podcasts there's actually a podcast with a doctor tomorrow. So his advice...
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, his advice is, from a doctor, but I'm not claiming to be a doctor, and I don't think you are either.
No, and I am. I don't either. But I go, you see, if I go and see my doctor, they'll still say on between episodes, they don't acknowledge I'm well. Well, I mean, how long have I got to go before I get the okay? 7 years now, but that make them look silly, you see, because I've done what they couldn't help me do. So they're a bit embarrassed, and when I saw my doctor, she said, you're making my heart go faster. I thought, well, that's your guilt, isn't it? What's triggering that? No.
She should see what mania feels like, Lynn. I think then you know exactly. About heart racing.
So I was just speaking my truth, you see. When you speak your truth, that triggers some people and others don't like it, do it? But there you go.
Well,
I'd be interested to hear what your doctor had got to say. I'd like to have a podcast with her or him.
100%. No, we would. I mean, we can do that. He's very, very responsive. I was actually put in contact with him through my private psychiatrist. And it was essentially, a bit about my story. I had been trying different medications for about 2 years. I tried about 14 different medications, of which some were antidepressants, some were antipsychotics, some were mood stablers, and some were anti-anxiety. There was one anti-anxiety, which I'm not going to mention the name, but that was actually very good for me. It calmed my anxiety. Again, like I didn't really suffer too badly with anxiety. I for all intents and purposes, just for whatever it's worth, anxiety in its highest or any form of it, in my opinion, is absolutely horrendous. There was a point that I had a panic attack the first night I was in Lambeth Hospital, and I involuntarily started to scratch my face off. I was actually on the phone to my mum and my sister, and I don't really remember it, but the next morning I looked in the mirror and I just had scratches all over my face because I'd just been trying to scratch my face off. Anxiety is absolutely horrendous, but essentially this doctor is, as I say, he was recommended to me by my psychiatrist. But this is the other thing as well, Lynn. As I say, no medication worked for me for 2 years, and that's a long time, and some people will say that, oh, you didn't give it enough time. It's like each one of those medications had about 2 months. I mean, do the maths, it can work out, right? And so I had those medications, and then I said to him, look, I'm not going to lie to you, I can't lie to you anymore, because this is another thing that's a little bit off the beaten track. Something I've learned is, if you are paying good money for a professional, then you have to be prepared to take their advice, because if you're not, then what are you paying for, right? So I had that in my head, and I thought, you know what? Whatever he says, I have to do, but also, like, I have to be completely honest with him. And some of the things that I was looking into were psychedelics. And again, like, I don't want to talk about this without my doctor, so I'll just put it out there that it was ketamine. But essentially, he runs one of 3 clinics in the UK for ketamine. They're called Save Minds. And essentially, that's, I'm pretty sure, I don't want to get anyone's false hopes up, but I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. And essentially, we're just going to have an introduction to Save Minds, because I want to do work with him. Essentially, I want to get Save Minds on the map, or I want to get ketamine treatment on the map, because for me, it was something that changed my life. Again, like everyone, as you say, everyone works differently, and I'm not going to push that narrative unless there's literally a doctor with me, because... For one,
I've heard about that, and like people go to South America and have that
ayahuasca,
whatever it is, that jungle medicine. But I never think psychedelics and stuff like that. But it works for some people. I think it kind of works on the vagus nerve, because and that's like cannabis oil. That we've got a cannabinoid system. So a lot of people can find that, but I didn't want to do it like that, because I'm always a bit worried that might have triggered me into mania.
It could, I think, sorry to interrupt, Lynn, but I think this is important for me to just sort of put a line under it. It is very dangerous. Whether it's for depression, anxiety, or any disorder, ketamine is very dangerous, and that's what I'm just going to whack out there, like 100%. From my experience, it was very dangerous, and for the record as well, it was this. Take into account, what bipolar depression is like. It was the scariest, most difficult 2 weeks of my whole entire life, without a shadow of a doubt. And so what I'm saying is, anyone who's listening to this and thinking, "Oh, I'm going to go and do ketamine," please, please, please do not do that. Yeah. Please consult a doctor, and
that's
especially.
Why I didn't want to do things like that, and I thought, well, food is pretty safe. I didn't dare really take supplements.
Yeah.
I did it because I thought, I don't know which ones I need, and that's all. You're a bit scared to do anything, because you trusted people like psychiatrists and that, and then you realise they can't help me.
With the ketamine, okay, even with, and again, I'll finish that bit as well. Recreationally, there is no amount of money you could pay me to do ketamine. That's a fact. Like, no amount of money. Like, I don't do drugs anyway, but I'm telling you 100% there's no amount of money you could pay me. But equally in saying this, and I'm sure Yadu will say this tomorrow, he doesn't know 100% what it does. He knows that he knows, and again, I don't want to quote this because he'll talk about it tomorrow, but he'll tell you, but he'll also tell you there's a part of ketamine that he doesn't understand. There's a part of ketamine that no one understands. And look, psychedelics are psychedelics. You can do the research. It's all out there. But I'm saying with psychedelics, and more only specifically talking about ketamine in this specific circumstance, what I'm saying is that even the doctors Yadu, I think his experience is about 20 or 30 years just in ketamine, Lynn, and he still doesn't know exactly what it does. He knows a little bit.
But you can't. Man's science will never understand nature. That's not possible. Because
it's synthetic as well.
Is the unknown.
It's synthetic as well, Lynn. That's the thing. Ayahuasca is natural, but it's a natural herb or whatever it is that you put in tea. I don't know enough about it to be able to talk about it. I'd love to get someone on to talk about it, but at the same time, ketamine is synthetic. So and that's the thing. Like, it was a massive risk for me, and it should be anyone thinking about doing it. You really, really, honestly have to think. I had symptoms of bipolar depression on and off for 14 years. That's how long it took me to make that decision, because I've watched my friends take drugs throughout the whole of my social life, and I never took drugs because I've seen how they reacted to it. And that's what I'm saying. It literally, I can't stress this enough, it took me 14 years to take ketamine. So please, anyone listening, please don't think that that's the get out of jail free card. It literally took me 14 years, and every single time I sat for 5 different IVs, I sat there, Lynn, and I'm telling you, every single time I thought, I don't want to do this. Every single time, without fail. It was horrendous. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not bigging it down, up, sideways, anything. We're going to have a chat with Yadu about it tomorrow. He is the most knowledgeable person I know in the world about ketamine, and he will tell the science, and he will sell the product, and he won't even sell it.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
You see, my way was a lot slower, but a lot calmer. You do as much as you can do, but I can understand people going for treatments which are like for a couple of weeks or something, and then you think you'll have gained a great thing at the end of 2 weeks. I can understand that. I was a bit fearful of anything, and I hadn't heard of ketamine, or could afford to go to South America and do ashwa nushwa or whatever it's called. So I thought, what can I afford to do here in Norfolk? And I thought, well, I can do diet, I can do that. So
but it's interesting, Lynn. Sorry to interrupt, I wanted to say this earlier as well, that because what I did a lot when I was suffering was I would look up, I mean, this is part of the reason why I'm doing the podcast. I used to look up things to see if there was like advice or videos or anything to help, natural ways and stuff. And there was a woman on YouTube, I can't remember her name, but she said that I think she just ate. Maybe it was a specific type of fruit, or it was just all fruits. And she just said she just purged her system, not purged, the opposite of purged. She just filled her system with fruit. And she did it for months and months and months. And then she said naturally her body worked it out. And she's similar to you, and that she said she's cured.
Well, it is purging, because our emotions are in our bodies. They're in our cells. So when you clean the cell, you clean emotions, and they bring up things from the past. So detoxing and healing is all about getting in touch with that, with our spiritual body, with our emotional body, instead of being detached. So you can do it with food, you can do it with drugs, there's lots of ways to do it. But obviously we know there's a lot of unhealthy people in the UK. So improving your health is going to improve all your health, your mind health, your gut health.
Healthy body, healthy mind, right?
Exactly. But people don't realise how far you can take it. And that's what my book is about, is to say, with bipolar, I've took it to get fixed. I'm fixed.
Yeah.
I'm not ill, I'm not on meds, and I've got no anxiety. I can go out, talk to strangers. I'm not, there's not a thing going on in my head saying that you're fear-based or nothing, I just operate.
Lynn, believe it or not, we've done
coming to the end.
We've done 28 minutes and 50 seconds. So I think that was a perfect ending to what we were talking about, and I think we haven't covered your book in as much detail as we can, but we've always got a podcast, so we've got lots of time to do more about the book. And I'll put a link. Maybe we can, if you can send me a link or something for the Amazon or wherever best you find to sell it, and we can whack that on there, which would be great. So I've got all my notes and stuff like that. The title of this is going to be the title of the last one, which is, I think it's just your name and the name of the book. So with 30 seconds to go, I've only got to say a little bit at the end, but sign out, Lynn.
Yeah, okay. Hope to see you and chat to you again.
100%. I mean, I'll say goodbye when we're off the podcast anyway, like I always do. But anyway, we'll probably chat for a few hours after that anyway. But for this one, it's only half an hour. So all that's left to say for the last 15 seconds of this wonderful podcast with Lynn. Again, thank you so much for coming on, Lynn. It was absolutely amazing. Everybody keep smiling, stay good, have a wonderful day, and always wear sunscreen, please.